All right, everybody. We finally got all of our technology up and running, so everything's streaming live on YouTube. I believe both of our co-chairs are online, so whenever you are ready, you can go ahead and call the meeting to order.
Thank you very much, Blair. Good morning, everybody. This is Gums here. I'd like to call the Legislative Committee to order today on the 17th of February, 2021, and the time is 10:42 in the morning. Can we please take a roll call?
Strathman?
Strathman, yes. Here.
Allen?
Allen, present. Thank you.
Bates? Brown?
Here.
Silva?
Silva is here.
Weber?
Present.
Jepro?
Here.
Brown? You have a
Okay,
quorum.
thank you for that. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes from January 20th, 2021.
Weber will move. Brown
Weber
second.
moves. Who's the
Strathman,
second?
second.
We'll take Strathman seconds. Do we have any comments or questions about these? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and approve the minutes from January 2021.
You need a roll call vote.
A roll
Bates
call
here.
vote for that.
Allen?
Allen, aye.
Bates?
Bates, aye.
Brown?
Yes.
Silva?
Yes.
Weber?
Yes.
Strathman?
Yes.
Gums?
Gums, yes.
Thank you.
All
Bates
right.
is here.
Thank you.
Approval for the minutes on that. Thank you, Bates. The minutes have been approved for January 20th, 2021. Next, we'll move on to old business. We're going to try and get through this as quickly as possible. We have some legislators going to do some presentations shortly. So first we have old business. After some discussion, we have not determined a date yet for our legislative meet and greets or breakfast. However, I have spoken personally. I know many of you have spoken personally with the legislators. We've got great enthusiastic responses for everybody willing to participate. Additionally, after our last public health meeting we just had, I think we can find a more targeted group for our first gathering. We will have those dates scheduled by next month with a list of guests. So I encourage you, if you have guests that you would like to see at this first meeting, please reach out to myself or co-chair Strathman. Second, we have the committee direction. So I encourage everyone to join the mailing list for all legislators in the entire state. The reason I'm asking for everybody to do that is because each representative has gotten their committee assignment. So just because we have legislators in King County, what we need to do is focus on those that are in charge of committees that there's legislation we support or need to be aware of. So just because Representative Hernandez is in King County does not necessarily mean she's on the committee that we need to be in contact with. So I encourage everybody to search those legislators and sign up for their newsletters. They got a lot of information, and then reach out to them as well. So if you just visit the Illinois General Assembly page, you can go and find those committees. And you can find all the information. I encourage you to do that. We're going to move right on to lobbying. Lobbying right now, in my opinion, is the most important issue we have going on right now is COVID-19 and the pandemic. After the last meeting, I've had some thoughts. I haven't written them down, but we have got to contact our legislators regularly to make sure that they're hearing from King County. That's the overall message that I heard before, and asking to push that we get the attention that we need for the residents here in King County. Also, Madam Chair, I noted a suggestion from the public health meeting, and I will be getting with Chairman Sanchez more directly on that. As far as lobbying goes, I was able to attend a meeting with UCCI on February 5th to discuss the House Bill 3665, which is the criminal justice bill. There was a lot of discussion on that, how it affects our counties. I encourage everybody to join these UCCIs, the National Association of Counties. We talked about this last month. A lot of information, a lot of meetings that they have offered. I've attended most of them, and they're eye-opening, and you can ask your questions and then report back here as well. I'm assuming that everybody is reaching out to those folks, and it just got expressed that that's very important that we do that individually, but also report back to the committee so that we can bring these up at our next meetings. I was able to attend the NACO, it's the National Association of Counties meeting on the 10th of February. This discussion was mainly an action from, they're asking for an action from county boards, our county board, to reach out to our federal legislators and request for the support for fiscal year 2021, the Reconciliation Act. This has support from the Illinois State Association of Counties, and all the organizations across the board are asking for us to do action on this to support this. I have drafted a letter that I'll email to all of you. You can personalize it. My request is that we send emails, contact by phone to all 18 of the delegated congressional members and our 2 senators, asking for their support in this passage. In the county of Kane, we stand to get $104 million with this package should it get passed. So reaching out, the letter that I'm going to be sending, also a physical letter on our letterhead with our seal on it, I think is extremely important too. These legislators, they get a lot of mail, they get a lot of emails, something physical, tangible that they can hold. I know that might sound cheesy, but it actually works. So I would encourage you to do that. Again, I will email you all the letter and you can tweak it as you choose.
Madam Chair, can you
go
talk a
ahead.
little bit more about the Reconciliation Act?
Sure. So the Reconciliation Act, sorry about that noise there. I got to get my screen here. So the Reconciliation Act is part of the $1.9 trillion package that's being proposed. Within the Reconciliation Act, there's a round of federal relief, and this would include $350 billion in essential aid to state, local, and territorial governments. This is included in my letter as well. It's projected that Illinois gets $5.6 billion for governments, and I'm sorry, I apologize. It projects $5.6 billion for Illinois local governments and $7.5 billion for the state. So Kane County is, again, projected to get $104 million, and that's for our 532,000 residents. The aid is for COVID-19 reasons, so it would have to be allocated appropriately as the CARES Act was. These are for frontline services. It helps to ease the impact of the response that we've had as counties. Also, we have, we're advocating for Kane County for sure, but this affects every county in the whole country. So we've got over 1,900 local public health departments that are also trying to get something so that we don't have these discussions. That's how we're going to get contact tracers hired. We've got 1,000 public hospitals and critical asset clinics. The counties are responsible for these additional services and duties. And so this is something that we really need to get people on board with.
So the Reconciliation Act is the $1.9 trillion bill? Is that what they're calling
It
it?
is part of that. Yes, correct.
Okay.
It is part of
All
that.
right.
So it was
I just
moved on the
didn't know.
12th. Yeah, it was moved on the 12th and forwarded on the 15th, I believe. They're trying to move it along pretty quickly, but we do need to get support in from our counties, our county board members, so that they can, maybe we can change some minds.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah. So where was I here? Don't forget the governor's addresses today. I don't know if you guys were aware of that, if you want to listen to it. That's pretty much what I have on that. I'm really asking people to do this. It's very important that we get support for this package. $104 million is going to go a long way. Any more questions about that?
Madam Chairman, Alan here.
Alan, go right ahead.
My question is do we want to do this as a resolution that comes from the county board signed by Madam Chairman on county stationery and so on? Or are you thinking that you want each of us to do a letter?
Well, we could theoretically do both. I would like each of us to do it individually. The more that they get, the more, visible we are. So if each county board member is sending our 18 delegates and 2 senators the letter, that's, I mean, they actually do read their emails, and volume does matter. So yes, we
That's-
could do it on a resolution, but I think that's important that we each do it directly.
That's great. Do you want to package them as a bunch so that they get a packet from Kane County from all of us? Or did you want us to do it individually where they're getting something in their email box or something in their regular mailbox in their hand?
Both. I would ask both of those things occur. We want to swamp them with support. So I have
Okay.
already sent I've already sent many emails, but I think the individually, I think and maybe we could bulk mail them. I don't know how that works. I'll have to get an answer to that because I don't know it.
I didn't mean bulk mail. I'm guessing that they have a secretary in their office who takes the mail, and if they saw a bunch coming from Kane County, they'd probably paperclip it together and hand it to them as a bunch. That's all I meant.
Sure. That's exactly what would happen.
Chairwoman Gums, it's Chairwoman Pirog. I love the idea of having the resolution passed for my sake, because I do represent all of you and all of your constituents. So that would be my preference, and we can do both. So perhaps we can put that on the agenda for, how quickly do you want this out?
Well, I think individually we could do it right now. We
Correct.
could do a resolution for next month though, but right now we could do it.
All right, so we'll put it on the next county board meeting as the resolution to put this together. Can you draft that resolution for us?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That highlights, though, one of the problems with the legislative committee structure is by the time you get around to getting a resolution to the full county board, often the train has left the station. And I think, frankly, that will be the case here. I would be shocked if we don't have legislation by the next county board meeting out of Congress. But
I do agree with that. That's why I would suggest our individual responses immediately. But it is going to take some time, so they will still get it. And if they're on the fence, again, there are a lot of people that don't agree with this package. So if they're on the fence, it might do some good. It might not.
The county, Pirog again, the county, the board committee of the whole will be meeting next week. So we could add the resolution to that meeting.
Done. Okay, very good. I will get that done.
Oh, I'm sorry, hold on.
you'd have to call a special meeting
Special meeting.
of the board at the time of the committee of the whole meeting.
Thank you.
But I guess I would also say that I think the chair of the board certainly could write a letter, whether or not there is a resolution, as a public official expressing her support or for the legislation. I don't think we should get too mired down in the technicalities. I think the point is you want to have local voices heard by the congressmen who are voting on this.
We'll do both. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
Chairwoman Gums, please, Bates, please.
Go ahead, Commissioner Bates.
Hi, will you be sending us out like a template of,
Yes.
a model letter?
Yes, I have drafted one. Again, you guys can tweak it if you choose, but I will share it and it will be user-friendly, collaborative.
Okay, and the list of those to whom we should send the letter.
I can certainly take care of that. I've already got it written down, so.
Okay, thanks. More work.
No problem. All right. So if we have no other questions on that portion of it, we'll go to new business. And don't see any questions. So today, under new business, we have a couple of presentations. First, we have a representative from Congresswoman Underwood's office. She has created a wonderful grant resource guide that you should all have in your agenda packets. So I would like to welcome Jessica Beethold and thank you for joining us today. And we should have your slides available if you want to go ahead and speak a little bit about it.
Hi, good morning. Can everyone hear me okay?
Great, thanks.
Well, thank you guys so much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning, particularly Chairwoman Gums, who invited me to speak about this federal resource guide that we put out, as well as talking about kind of how our office can assist with federal grant applications. So I just wanted to introduce myself really quickly. I'm Jessica Beethold. I am the Congresswoman's Outreach Director. I work in the district out of her West Chicago office. One of the areas of focus in my portfolio is federal grants. And when I talk to everyone from county governments to, small nonprofits, one of the things we often hear is just that it's very overwhelming and confusing to enter the grant process for the first time if you don't know a lot about federal grants. So we put together this resource guide to just kind of help people who are just getting started out with understanding what federal grants are all about. So you can see this grant resource guide here. I'm not going to go through all of it. Hopefully it's laid out in just a very easy to follow way. But you guys should all have a copy of it. And then it's also available at the Congresswoman's website at underwood.house.gov. And we plan to, continue to update this if there's new information or new grant programs are added. So we're hoping that it'll be a living document, but it is available at any time to download on our website. So, as I said, we see this as like a very great primer, particularly for anyone who's new to the federal grant process. So it goes over, and I don't know if someone who's controlling this wants to like flip through it at all, but it goes over kind of what federal grants are, what they are not, because people are often very confused on what federal grants even do. And then as well as the mission of each of the 26 federal grant making agencies and what kind of their main grant programs might fund. It also has a lot of tips and best practices for the grant application process. And at the end, there's a few Congressional Research Service reports about like how to write a grant proposal that we think would be helpful to folks that are just starting out. So as I'm sure everyone on this meeting knows, federal grants are highly competitive, and the process of researching and applying for them can be difficult and overwhelming. So that's kind of why we put together this guide, but I wanted to take some time to, highlight some of the ways that our office helps when someone is actually in the process of applying for a grant or, just beyond this grant guide. So one of them, and this is all in a section like how our office can help, that's in this guide. So it's all in there already. But we do a monthly e-newsletter. So anyone can sign up at the Congresswoman's website. Again, that's underwood.house.gov. And our staff, we go through every federal grant that's been announced that month and pick out the ones that are kind of most relevant to the 14th District of Illinois. And we kind of put them together in a little bit easier to read format than grants.gov. If you've ever interacted with that website, it can be very overwhelming. There's a lot of information. So we try and do kind of a month-to-month breakdown of the most relevant information for our constituents. We also write letters of support. So if anyone is applying for a grant that will benefit the 14th District of Illinois, the Congresswoman can submit a letter of support on behalf of their application directly to the agency. We also do, grant suggestions. So if there's a specific project and someone's having, trouble finding grant opportunities that might fit, we can take a look at that project and come up with a list of possible grants that would cover it. Obviously, eligibility for grants can be very specific and minute. So it's kind of up to that person to look through all the eligibility requirements of that grant and see if it's worth going through the application process. But we can help kind of point people in the right direction of where they should be looking if they're trying to fund a project. We also are regularly communicating and advocating for grant applicants with the agency. So oftentimes people have questions about a grant application and they aren't able to get in touch with the agency, and we can help them, get those answers that they need so they can put together the best possible application. We also help if someone is denied a grant and they want the agency to do a review of their application. We can set those conversations up, and that can lead to a lot of good information if they want to apply the next time of how to make their application stronger, to kind of get that feedback directly from the agency on why perhaps this, it didn't get funded this time. So that's kind of just an overview of, how our office helps, in addition to putting together guides like this. It's our goal to make sure everyone has access to the resources and support that they need. And that also we take a process that can be very overwhelming and frustrating and make it as easy as possible for the Congresswoman constituents. So I don't know if anyone has any questions for me. I'm happy to address them now, or if there's anything else from the guide that you guys would like me to talk through. But you can reach to me at any time. I'll put my email and my cell phone number in the chat, but it's jessica.beeshold, BEEZHOLD @mail.house.gov. And you can reach me at 630-297-6698. Chairwoman Gumbs, if there's anything else you want me to speak on, particularly in the guide, I'm happy to, but that's kind of an overview of kind of how our office interacts with our constituents in the federal grant process.
No, I appreciate your presentation. I would ask if anybody has any questions. Now's the time.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Weber has a question.
Go ahead, Mr. Weber.
Yes, Jessica, thanks for coming on and presenting. I was wondering if other counties that you work with, if they're involved in applications that maybe we should be involved with as well. Is there any way you can give us a heads up, we have current needs that they would have that we can kind of go in? Obviously it's a separate application, but just give us a heads up that we should be doing it.
So I don't know if we would necessarily share, what requests we're getting from other entities. We obviously always careful about protecting people's privacy and what they share with our office. So we don't regularly, let people know that others are applying for certain grants. But what I would suggest is, being in communication with our office about what projects you're looking to fund, so that we can make sure, as we're looking through grants every month, or if we're already aware of, grants that are going to come up at certain times, that we're letting you know. So I would say it'd be more about the relationship that we have with the county directly, and knowing, what you're trying to look for federal funding for, so we can point you in the right direction, as opposed to telling, what other counties are applying for, if that makes sense.
No, that's fair. Absolutely. Do you know how many grants Kane County, how many did you guys help us with any grants last year?
Not that I am aware of. I joined the office in the summer. I don't know if anyone else on this, committee can speak to that. But if you're applying for federal grants, the competitive ones, and we're not helping you, then I think we need to have a conversation about, how we can. And maybe that's a meeting offline where we can talk about, what projects, you're looking to fund right now. And how, if we can, connect with any ones that we think you might be eligible for, so that we can help through that process. We're also right now going through appropriations. So we have appropriations funding request survey that's up on the Congresswoman's website right now, which I'm happy to share, where we're trying to collect information on projects that are trying to be funded, so that if there's ways to, increase the funding through appropriations for those programs that we know communities are trying to utilize, that the Congresswoman can do that through her role on the Appropriations Committee. So there's a lot of ways to talk to our office and work with our office on federal funding needs. But it sounds like if we haven't already, we might need to like sit down for kind of an introductory meeting and hear more about like what you're looking to fund.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jessica.
Sure.
Question, please. Mavis Bates.
Commissioner Bates, go right ahead.
Can you give me some examples of what appropriations funding requests would look like? I mean, examples of projects. Is
Right.
this a highway or a bridge or a daycare center or?
Right. Yeah, it absolutely can be. So anything that would come through like a federal funding opportunity, we want to know what those projects are, because if we can, make sure that funding is available or increase, or she can advocate to increase funding, that she knows like, if every county is asking for transportation funding, then the Congresswoman knows, she needs to advocate for additional transportation funding, through the appropriations process. Because so many communities, that's what they need. So it's really kind of giving us an indication of what your priorities are, so that we can make sure that as best as one Congresswoman can, that funding is comes through the federal government. And I'm happy to follow up with more information. I'm happy to share it with Chairwoman Gums, that she can distribute kind of more about appropriations and about that appropriation request form. We're planning to hold a workshop for anyone who's interested in knowing more about appropriations sometime in the next couple weeks. So I will also make sure I share that information for anyone who wants to join that workshop.
Great, thanks.
No problem.
You.
Madam
Any
Chair,
more questions?
Brown here. Jessica, could you give me your phone number again?
Yes, absolutely. So it's 630-297-6698. And I will
Thank
put
you.
it in the chat as soon as I'm done speaking too, for anyone that needs it, as well as my email.
All right, thank you.
Chairman Gums, this is Alan. May I ask a question?
Go right ahead.
Sure. Jessica, this is just kind of a logistics question. Is it possible that our transportation department is already working in conjunction with other transportation departments in Illinois, so that they are coming to you in some form to say, here's our 5-year list of projects and we would like you to continue our funding? Is that how it works?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I understand your question. So is that are you asking more like the internal county process? Do you have one person, or is it like this committee that is always the one that communicates on behalf of the county to the Congresswoman? Or are you saying like, would independent departments also be in contact with us?
I guess I'm asking if, in your experience, do you see requests for federal funds coming from a group of transportation people? I'm just guessing that the county has been doing the things that it does for a long time. And I'm going to guess that our transportation people are already working with, there are groups of mayors and managers, and federal money comes to them and then they disperse it, because the idea is that spreading it out locally is better than the feds trying to do it from Washington. So I'm just wondering if you are used to seeing come across your desk requests from transportation officials in Illinois, and I'm going to guess that we would be included in that batch, or does maybe your office doesn't handle individual requests? I guess that's the question I'm asking. Do you see coming across your desk transportation requests from a group of transportation experts, such as our transportation department, in colleague with other transportation departments?
Yes. So, I mean, there are instances in which people are collaborating on a grant application, and it's, more than one entity that's applying. Our office, so long as the funding will benefit the 14th District of Illinois, the Congresswoman, is interested in being aware or, supporting that project. So yes, sometimes it's individual entities or nonprofits, and sometimes it's done in collaboration with the group. So we might have, a county health department that's joining with a local mental health service provider or something like that to put together an application together. And I also wanted to address, something else you alluded to, which is talked about in the guide, which is pass-through funding. So a lot of the federal funding that, comes from the federal government is given to states or local entities for them to distribute. So even if the grant is funded by the federal government, you might be applying through the state or applying through CMAP for a project, to get funded, even though that funding ultimately started with the federal government. It's just being distributed by a more local entity, and that's called pass-through funding.
Gotcha, thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any more questions for Jessica? All right, Jessica, I appreciate your assistance here, and thanks very, very much. And we will be in contact. I look forward to working with you some more. Thank you.
Sounds great. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Okay.
Thank you,
Next
Jessica.
we have another presentation. We have on the state level grants, Representative Hernandez is on the line with us. And if you want to go ahead, we've also got some information from her office to put up on the screen. Representative Hernandez, I appreciate you joining us, and you can go ahead and take it from here.
Thank you so much for having me. I know there's new members, so I want to introduce myself to all of you. Congratulations, first of all, for winning your election. My name is Barbara Hernandez. I am the state representative of the 83rd District. I represent areas of Aurora, North Aurora, and a little bit of Montgomery as well. And I was a former county board member just a few months ago. So I hope you are all enjoying the new position. Just today, I want to discuss a little bit of the things that is going on in Springfield or in the state overall. As you're aware, we went down to Springfield in the beginning of January for lame duck session, where we passed a lot of different bills, including the criminal justice reform bill as well. In February, just a week and a half ago, I was going down to Springfield to House rules that we needed to do. We didn't pass any legislation. It's just cleanup stuff that we needed to do for our own guidance and so on. Since we did have a new speaker, we needed to adopt new rules, which does include a term limit for the speaker and majority and minority leadership as well. So something that I'm able to announce is that I am elected as vice chair for the Illinois House Women Caucus, which is a great opportunity to have. We have close to 38 women in the state legislators out of 118. So that is a great accomplishment. I believe we might be the first or the second state that has the majority of women. So it's a great opportunity. Another thing that I do want to discuss is if you go down, and this is actually coming from my newsletter, and I know that Chairperson Gumbs mentioned that newsletters are great, and they are. You can get a lot of information. I try to send mine every single a bi-weekly process as much as I can with a list of jobs for the community at least once a month. So going down, there is a small business relief for the businesses in Aurora. So if you do represent Aurora, please make sure you read that, take a look at it. There's going to be a lot of different opportunities for relief. Not only will they be able to have like a grant, which is open already and it's due by March 3rd. You can get that information from the city's website as well, or the city's Facebook. There's also going to be a food and beverage sales tax rebate program, along with a liquor license fee waiver. And that's going to be something that businesses do not have to apply. They'll be automatically given. And this once again from the city of Aurora. They're also planning to do a residential rental relief where they can give a little bit of relief to those that have are in process of possibly getting evicted or a threat of eviction. So that is something that is currently happening in the Aurora area. Something that I do want to recommend for all of you, especially your constituents that you have Many legislators do have a museum pass that allow up to 4 people to go for free to most of the museums in the Illinois area. So even the Field Museum, the Shedd Aquarium, the Planetarium, all those museums that are usually really expensive, there are ways of getting your constituents and your families and everybody else able to participate in those programs. And once again, it's like a little card that you borrow for a day or two. You go to your museum of choice and for free for 4 people, and then you return it back to the legislators. That's something that I love to open it up to the public because I feel like that is, I want them to experience a lot of different information, cultures, and so on. And it's a great opportunity for them. Along with, there's going to be also a state nonprofit grant coming from the Treasurer's Office for nonprofits. So please make sure you also spread that word. It's really crucial that that the rural community and the King County area receive those nonprofits. For the longest time, they have been neglected simply because they haven't applied for them or they didn't know about it. So as much as you can share, please, the information. We're asking for more people to get those state funds in the suburbs. And of course, unemployment is still a big item as well. And it's still affecting a lot of people. A lot of people are still not getting their unemployment or getting fraud with unemployment. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out to your state representative or senator. We have liaisons with each agency, state agency, where we can give them a call, let them know of an issue of a constituent, and try to figure out a way to solve that issue, either by giving them a call, seeing their application process, and so on. So we do have individuals that help us behind the scenes. So if you do have any questions, feel free to let me know as well. And I'm also going to include my email to the chat box. There's a few events coming up in my office tomorrow. Tomorrow. I keep forgetting what day it is today. Social justice meeting. I do have usually a monthly social justice meetings with constituents throughout Zoom. We try to target different topics, the Department of Corrections, to know how everything is going on with COVID and the corrections officers and the inmates that are in our state jails and so on. So we're having that discussion with them and trying to figure out what ways we can improve in the upcoming months or weeks. Another thing that we also have is different CEO, Department of Commerce information just about loans, the PPP loans of webinars that are available to individuals that are maybe for the first time ever are applying to those loans and they need a little bit of guidance. So there are several webinars available, both in English and Spanish, for small businesses if they are willing, if they want to apply for them. And of course, COVID, we have a few other places that are also offering COVID testing and so on. There's a few state sites as well in the rural community, in the King County community. But if you want to share this information, please do. This organization's Open Door Clinic is also located in Elgin and in Aurora, and I believe in other suburbs as well. But I also attached a committee list. If you want to know more of who will be representing what area, it's on the chat. I can send this email to Chairperson Gums as well, so you can all have it. For the counties and townships, it looks like Representative Yingling and Representative Carroll are the both co-chair and the vice chair of the committee. And I'll be actually vice chairing cities and villages. So, but once again, the list is right there if you want to take a look and see, and then talk to a few of your representatives that might be in those committees. And at this time, I would open for any questions that you may have.
I have a
Thank you very
question.
much. Who has the question?
Shepro.
Go ahead, Mr. Shepro.
Thank you for a very informative report and also the attachment. And when I was reading through that, I saw at the end about the issues of identity theft with unemployment claims. And I can say that both my wife and I were recently denied for unemployment benefits at places we never heard of. And I discovered upstairs some of our staff has had the same experience. Is that appears to be a really widespread problem of I guess,
Yeah.
bogus claims for unemployment insurance where somebody's applying under your name. Are you finding that to be the case?
Yes, this is actually not just a state issue. This is a whole country issue. There's a lot of claims, false claims, fraud claims with individuals. And here in Illinois, we're trying to minimize that as much as possible. But it is sometimes difficult.
Would you encourage, I mean, we got all sorts of correspondence from the department about it. And I know my wife has been after me to officially write back and say that my identity was stolen. Is that something that is important to do so you don't find it cropping up somewhere on a credit report? Because again, I'm hearing from friends and constituents about the same degree of problem.
Yes, if you can report it as soon as possible, that would be really helpful for you and your family. And I attached the link there, but I will send this to you all in another email, so you guys can have the link where you can report it, but it is crucial that you report it as soon as possible.
Yeah, I did. I'm looking at a letter I got. Was there a request for identity verification where you can check a box and say, no, I didn't file this claim. So, all right, well, good. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Do we have any more questions? All right. I don't think, looks like other people have had that identity theft issue happen as well. We don't have any
I
more
even
questions.
got a credit card that was supposed to be used to access my benefits, although it did say it had a zero balance.
Well, tells us what you're worth, huh?
Yes.
Okay, if we don't have any more questions, I would like to thank Representative Hernandez for being here and doing that presentation. And again, please sign up for those newsletters from all these folks because they are so informative. They each have different information and it will help countywide. So I encourage everybody to do that. Thank you, Representative Hernandez, for being
I
here.
have one more question I just thought of. I'm sorry.
Oh, go right ahead.
Yeah, maybe you discussed this when I was upstairs. I was talking with Madam Chair a couple of minutes ago, and it appears from what I'm hearing from my sources that we aren't likely to have final census data for redistricting to allow it to be completed any earlier than I'm now hearing September. And I'm wondering what the General Assembly may be doing about the various existing deadlines for filing, petition circulation, and so forth if we don't know by then what the districts will look like.
So with the census information, it is honestly a little bit tricky. We have the deadline of the end of May, or at least from the part of the General Assembly adopting anything. If not, we will have to get a bipartisan committee of 8 people. If that doesn't work and doesn't get we don't reach the deadline again, we will have to have another additional individual. What I was told, it would be something that
that's the Abe Lincoln hat.
Yes, exactly.
But I guess I'm thinking not only at the legislative level, but at the local government level. I believe the county's code says that we have to redistrict the county not later than the July meeting. And so that's another potential fix that's going to have to be made, I would guess.
Yeah, those are going to be conversations that we're going to continue to have. We just had one for the first time yesterday on it. There will be 2 chairpersons of each chamber. I believe in the House, it will be Representative Celeste and Leader Hernandez. And then in the Senate, it'll be Senator Aquino. I don't remember the other person that will be chairing. So those individuals will form a committee to start working on this redistricting and hopefully have something done by May. But once again, if the numbers are going to be late, there's going to be a lot of late items that we're going to have, and unfortunately will be affecting the local government as well.
Thank you.
Chair Gums, Sanchez here.
Go ahead, Mr. Sanchez.
Representative Hernandez, I do like to try and watch your guys' committee meetings when I can. They're broadcast live. Are you aware of any recordings of these that are actually stored somewhere that are just hard to find? Or is it literally if you watch it live, you're able to see the proceedings? If you miss it, then that's it?
I'm not sure if it's recorded, but I will try and find out for you. I know we have an old system and our website is really outdated. So I know it could be tricky. So I'll try to identify if we do have recordings and I'll share it with you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else with any questions? Very good. I appreciate it. Representative Hernandez, hope you have a great day. Thanks for attending.
Thank you.
All right.
Take care.
Take care. Next, we have our champion, Commissioner Bates, we're going to call, and she has some legislation that she proposed. She'd like to speak about that. Go right ahead, Ms. Bates.
Okay, thank you, Chairwoman Gums. I was on a Sierra Club meeting about a month ago, and they were talking about this bill that has been reintroduced. It's the bottle deposit and return legislation. And the reason, so there's many reasons to be excited about this bill. It would help our landfills to not be clogged up with so many bottles and plastics. It would also help the environment by not filling up the landfill. And there is a potential revenue source for us. This is a long road to hoe, but if we could get this bill passed and create a redemption center in Kane County at one of our recycling centers, there's a possibility that we can start getting 2 cents per bottle that would be refunded. So I did call Ann Williams, the chairperson of the Illinois Environmental Committee. She's a state rep, and I got to ask her to get this sponsored and reintroduced. And I did get a call back from them that they got Delia Ramirez, who's another state rep, to sponsor it. So I'm asking you for your support for this bill. I don't have the number. Do you have the number, Michelle? I don't know if it's come out of the LRB yet. So
I don't know that I have a number. I honestly have not looked for it, but I can get the number.
Okay, and maybe it doesn't have a number yet. I don't know how long it takes. It was sent to the LRB. The last day that they could do this was January 29th. So I was making a lot of calls on January 28th, and this did get introduced. So I don't know where we take it from here as a committee, but I would like to get
just
this
really
passed.
quick. Yeah. So really quick, when you go into your committee that you submitted it to on the Illinois General Assembly, when you click on their page, there's a section that has bills under it. You should be able to click on that committee, find the bills that have been presented. And if it has a number, it should be in there, but that's,
Okay, I'm searching by
I can walk you through
keyword,
that.
So, all right, thanks.
Yeah, I can walk you through that later.
Okay.
Madam Chair, this is Cheryl.
Go right ahead.
I have a question for Ms. Bates. I have seen a television commercial that the major soft drink manufacturers are now promoting that they're going to be recycling their plastic bottles for refill. Would that information be helpful to getting this bill passed?
I think so, because when you put a deposit on a bottle, that is reuse more than recycling, I
Yeah,
believe.
I think they are advertising it as reusing. So
Okay,
have you seen that commercial?
no, I haven't, but advertisements for reusing plastic bottles.
Yeah, it's by the major manufacturers. I know Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, and I forget the third one, but they're advertising that it's a new program. I think that could help us move this
Okay.
forward.
Okay, maybe I can find out some more about that. I don't trust a word that any of those people say, but I will still look for.
Smartly spoken.
Commissioner Bates, Commissioner
ma'am.
Bates, I have
Yes,
a
ma'am.
number for you.
Okay, thanks.
It is HB 1799.
HB 1799. Okay, I'll be seeing that in my sleep, I imagine. So whatever our committee can do to move this forward, I don't know what the proper channels are from here, but this is my
Well, we can
pet bill.
we can lobby to help get this passed through. I mean, if there's support from our members here.
Uh-huh.
So
Okay.
I would suggest that we can lobby the committee that you are working with to get that done. It's an excellent idea, and you're putting us all to shame. Thank you very much for all your work that you're doing.
I don't know. It looks like you've done quite a bit. But whatever I should be doing next, somebody kick me under the table and I'll do it. Thanks.
I think my shins are hurting too. If anybody has any more questions for Commissioner Bates, feel free. Otherwise, we'll move on. Very good. So do we have any comments from my co-chair, Commissioner Strathman?
Yes, good morning, everybody. I would just like to let everybody know that today there is going to be a House bill presented that is about the cannabis tax proposals. And Kane County missed out on their share of the taxes. The papers were filled out but not filed under the last administration. And so we're working to correct that. We did not collect any taxes in the last quarter of 2020. We would have been eligible had the papers been filed for October through December. We are all set for taxes to be collected from July to December of 2021, but we are hoping to get at least some portion of the first and second quarters coming up so that we can recoup some of that money. It may only be $90,000, but $90,000 is $90,000. So I have been in contact with Representative Anna Moeller, who is, I believe she is presenting this today. So I will be getting that information and passing that on as I hear more. But we're hoping to correct a administration clerical error from the previous administration. So I'll keep you informed of that.
Good job.
Excellent. Well done. Do you have any questions about that? And did you have more to say?
No, I don't have the House bill number. I will get that and I will pass that information on to everybody.
Excellent work. You guys are all rock stars. Again, if you're on the committee or anybody on the board has things that are important legislatively, we have to keep an eye on these things. So when you go to the Illinois General Assembly and you click on these committees, you can see all the bills that are being proposed. And we have to keep an eye on these things so that they can be brought up to the legislative committee. We don't know what's going on unless we actually get that information from you to put it on the agenda. So please feel free to reach out to me or let Commissioner Strathman so we can get these things on the agenda. It looks like we're doing pretty good work. I have talked to many of you, and I'm happy to report that everybody seems to be having a good time and we're all learning very well. So I appreciate everyone's hard work, and I will wrap this up with please I will get that email to you. And unless we have any comments from the public, we have no need for executive session.
Motion to adjourn.
I would accept that motion from
Chair Pro.
I'm sorry, Shepro
second?
and
Oh, I
Bates
can't,
second.
well, I can make a motion. I just can't vote on it.
Oh, you
All
can?
right. Okay, well, fair enough. We've got those motions, and it's
Voice vote.
an aye. Voice vote, yes. Thank you for that. I apologize. All in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
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 Thank you.